YouTube, what's good? It's Trinity YouTube coming back at you. I know you've been dead for like a year, but I came back and I'm the only one who does YouTube stuff. So we back in here. I got my boy MP on the mic.
Hey, Banlist, organizer, and the only other person who has a decent mic, and we'll talk about Trinity nonstop.
Back. So yeah, we're gonna go over the new ban list for Darkwing Blast and Magnificent Mavens that just dropped, because they dropped within a month of each other because the two new sets dropped and we drop a ban list for every single new set. So we just had two ban lists back to back, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna go over it all at once, because why not? All right, so I guess we'll just start from Darkwing Blast and just go down all the way to. I'm not just going to go down the list, scrolling down.
So, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
First off, we got the Bestial cards. I think it's justified that they got hit a lot.
So yeah, the whole thing behind the Bestiate hits is that so they're basically power creep DD Crows for the best two colors. I mean, for the best two attributes in the game. Yeah, because they're 2500 beat sticks, and Magma literally searches another name, so you can go Magma at end of your opponent's turn, banish something, then search another Bestiad, summon that one, and then on your turn, overlay into Beatrice, and just even at like one point that play would be insane.
Yeah, I think it's also just broken because it just generically searches any dragon card from your deck to your hand. So not only is it DD Crow with a big body, but it also searches. I think the fact that it searches, like, and then Druid Swarm is also broken as well, because when it leaves the field, it just is removal. So it's just essentially like really shitty Pankratops, but really shitty Pankratops is still Pankratops.
Yeah, really shitty Pankratops is still Pankrop, and the fact that it summons itself on the opponent's turn gives you a 2500 body, and if they even remove it, you still get to go, oh, that's cool, I'll just non-destruction send your light dragon or any other special summon monster.
Originally when I saw that, yeah, keep going.
Oh, I was gonna say, and the reason why we banned Lobelion is mainly because it searches any Bestia card, and the fact that it's able to just go, okay, I'm gonna discard myself, search a body, and then I can summon the body, tribute over it, and now have an level 8 body for just one card, and it also puts a light in the dark and gray for Chaos Blaze. That's why we banned Lobelion, because having that much searchability on top of the branded spell activation from deck spell trap is just over the top.
When I originally saw the hits, I thought one of the first reasons why they would be being looked at like so heavily is because they summon on the opponent's turn. So for decks that really don't abuse summoning on the opponent's turn, I'm thinking exactly Chaos, because these are Chaos monsters. They're just better Chaos monsters, and at least from what I've played with Chaos really doesn't like pop off on your opponent's turn. It's basically a 3 summon deck, but being able to just put bodies on board during your opponent's turn, that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and thank God we actually like preemptively nerfed Bestiad, because can you imagine like going like, oh, my opponent, okay, I'm going second. I'm playing Thundra. My opponent does a turn. Okay, end phase. Discard Thunder Dragon Titan, discard Dragon Dark, search a body, and then I can banish that Dragon Dark to summon it on their turn. Or you can always just like discard it, and then on follow-up turn just banish it at spell speed 2, get a body, and then get a search. And then on the crack effect, just destroy your opponent with card advantage. They're really unfair. And sure, we did limit what's his name? We 0.5 Druid Worm. And that was mainly because in our heads we were like, okay, so we got rid of the Searcher, and we got rid of the one that searches the other ones. So maybe Druid Worm would be fine. It's like a buffed up version of DD Crow at 0.5. And then the other one, the other Bestiad, BYS. What's his name?
Sarnier.
Yeah, we decided, well, like, let's have the worst one be the one that's unlimited. And also, because he also has a branded support, we're like, okay, this will be fine. This will be a small buff to branded / Despia, while we also keep the power one in check, which is Druid Worm. That was like our entire idea behind, okay, we'll 0.5 this one, and then we'll keep the other one unlimited while banning the other two.
I think the funny part is that all of you guys thought that Sarnier it was the worst. It's like the worst of the archetype, but I still saw it played in like at least 50% of the side decks this like past YTC. It's just
Well, that's because
infinitely better,
it's just that
infinitely
good.
better DD Crow, man.
Yeah, but like there are recently, like right now, decks are starting to pivot away from light and dark decks like Earth Box or like Punks are getting a lot more popular because there's always the threat of like if I commit to a dark deck, I'm always having the risk of getting blown out by Thundra, Chaos, or just any deck that techs in a copy of Bistiad.
All right, I think we've discussed those guys enough. Broken Chaos Monsters, stupid. I can't believe they power creep DD Crow. I'm putting this on a news article. It's going out to the public. Next we have the Cashier Monsters. Now, I know we were talking about how before those monsters were just shitty Pankratops. These are like slightly less shitty Pankratops. And then one of them is literally just Pankratops.
Yeah, so in testing for these, the cashiers are way too good to be Cashier, Unicorn and Fenrir are both way too good to be at unlimited, mainly because Fenrir is literally like, okay, I'm gonna summon myself, search another body, and I'm also going to I'm also gonna banish a card, banish the face of card face down, which is just literally else. It's like it's like if you took Prankatops that can search another dinosaur that can also that's also Eater of Millions basically, which is just one of the most broken things ever, and on a level 7 body. It's very disgusting. And then you also have to remember that Unicorn can search out any Kashtira spell, which the only one legal right now is Birth. But Birth is still great because it literally allows you to retrieve any of your Kashtiras from banished or grave. So basically, Unicorn basically sets up a continuous monster reborn for them over multiple turns. So that's why we had to ban both of them.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's stupid
No,
that
keep on going.
that Birth has the secondary effect to just banish 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard face down. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen with Kashtira come their next wave of support, because I'm assuming come the next wave of support, the XZ's custom card is gonna get banned. Like, I think that's a given.
Yeah, that's an automatic E-ban because it's a floodgate. It's literally Dark Law that can also it's Dark Law that also can ban. That's also quick play banish. So it's Dark Law and Trident in one, which is like, I don't know. Nobody can get a good argument for that. It's Dark Law and Trident in one card, and it's not even once per turn. It's once per. Once per. Oh wait, no, it's once per.
No,
it's
it's a
banish effect
soft
is once per turn.
turn.
Oh
Which-
yeah, so
Which doesn't really matter in the context of Trinity, but it's still broken. Stupid card. All right.
yeah, and if you're wait, one more thing. And if you're wondering why we let Ogre of all cards be the one that's unlimited, the justification behind Ogre being unlimited is okay. So we got rid of Fenrir, which searches out Unicorn. Unicorn searches out the Reborn spell. So now if you want to like take advantage of Ogre, it's either you play it as like a power one-off that your opponent has to respect, or yeah, you play Ogre as a power one-off that can maybe search the trap to then maybe return it, but it only returns itself from banish, so it's not really worth it. And also, Ogre's banish effect is the least most impactful one because Fenrir just straight up just goes, okay, I'm just gonna remove one threat from the board. Unicorn's literally Diabolus, where you look at your opponent's extra deck and remove it, which is like really really insane versus like Spiral or like any really deck that needs like one specific extra deck monster. And Ogre just says, okay, cool. So I'm just gonna look at the top 5 cards of your deck and banish one card from there that you might need for like a combo, or like I know exactly what you're gonna draw, so I can just like set up. So like in the context of the Kashtiras, Ogre is the least powerful one. And it searches the worst cards. So that's why we kept it at unlimited, while the other 2 ones had to be banned.
Fair enough. All right. Next we got some Draco Slayer hits. I think this one here is Ignis Phoenix. All my homies hate Pendulum. Yeah, I would not like to see this thing in format. I do not think that more support to the best deck in the format is nice, especially when it is just infinite plus with the Metaphors card.
So I want you to so tell me what the most broken effect on this card is.
Let's see. from your okay. I think both of them are pretty pretty broken because you put it into your pen scale, and then you can shuffle a guy from your extra deck. You get to add a Draco Slayer Ignite directly from the deck, and then you can pop it with the Metal Foes, and then you set from the Metal Foes, and then you get the special summon from the card itself, and you can use both those effects in one turn.
Yeah, that's the broken brook. That you can use both effects. So what Ignis Venus basically is, in the context of like whenever Follow was testing it, it was basically if you said I'm gonna destroy. It's like he's basically like the Baby Ceratosaurus for dinos, but playable in Pendulum and searchable off of Rhoda and the what's it called? Searchable off of Rhoda and the Noble Knights package because he's technically he's a fire warrior, not a dragon. So you can imagine how easy is accessible, and all you need to do is have him plus any metaphor or any way to destroy him. So like Sky Iris. So then you destroy him, and then you're able to summon out Master Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, as a free body, and also summon as a tuner for some crazy ass reason. So just to make Ignis even easier. So basically, it becomes two free things that you can link off into Electromite or Beyond the Pendulum and just get insane pluses, or like going second's even better because you can just make Ignister, and then Ignister just literally says, okay, cool, I'm gonna summon another Master Pendulum from the deck, and also non-targeting shuffle a card from field. It's just way too of a crazy enabler.
Yeah, it's just too good of a card because, like, you could say it's just one card, but then it's also like 5 cards because you can search it with like 15 other cards. So yeah, I don't want to give Pendulum any more buffs. That deck is so stupid. All right.
Yeah, I can never understand Pendulum buffs.
Next, we got the Mutant hits. Now, I wasn't here, but I'm assuming because this deck got hit so much, it like won something back to back. So you can just take this one.
Okay, so the entire reason we had the Mutant hits was because of how popular they were getting with they were getting really splashed into control lists that were using Punk as an engine because you would go E-Tele, summon out your Zeman, and then Seaman search out your Spider, and then if you already had Spider in rotation, you'll just summon out an Arsenal. I mean, not Arsenal. You'll summon out ST-46, or you'll summon out Mutant, and then you'll be able to set up like Beast plus a Mutant expansion, which will then get you another body, and you'll just be able to out-tempo your opponent by banishing your cards. So it was really broken in Punk, and of course Thunder Dragons, because you can just banish your own Dragon Darks or your extra copies of Thunder Dragon in hand, just net so much advantage over the course of like turns.
Yeah, I see it. I know that Mutant before had some hits when it originally came out with Chaos Impact, and I guess people really just because I feel like there was a portion of time in which the Mutants were just not being played, but then I guess they started being played again, and people realized, hey, these cards are pretty broken if just played generically. So yeah, they got it.
Well, it was mainly because Punk is just so good as a resource engine to like constantly keep you up with card advantage and take away from your opponent, and you can just constantly just have more and more cards. You gain more advantage from just a little something as a normal summon. That's the reason why it eventually got out of hand, because we just had too much card advantage.
It seems like we have the resident crafter over here. My boy Stephen Harper has joined the discussion. If you heard the jet turbine for a second, that was him.
Okay, he'll raise his hand whenever he wants to speak on a card.
What card is it right now?
We're just
right
going
now we're on
Naturia
Bamboo.
Yeah, we're going on to the Naturia stuff. So I can reasonably deduce why these cards were hit. Naturia Bamboo Shoot, not very powerful when it's a one of you can't search. Very powerful when it's a one of you can consistently search. That just says your opponent cannot spell slash trap. And Mole Cricket is insane. Mole Cricket is the entire reason why Naturia is good in the TCG, and it is the entire reason why Naturia would be the most broken deck in format if it was allowed in.
Yeah, because like what do you do is you establish Mole Cricket. You go, okay, I'm gonna go Mole Cricket, summon Camila plus any Floodgate, and then I'm gonna revive Mole Cricket, and now you literally cannot play at all. And then of course Camila would send a Sacred Tree, so then you can search Mole Cricket for the crackback.
Yeah, I think
Also,
Walrus was summoning Horn Needle, and then because Camellia can just replace the tribute, it's just really good.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
understand why a
and
card that special summons 2 cards from the deck also brings itself back.
oh yeah, that's the most stupid thing ever. That's like literally saying, "Hey guys, we're gonna make Rescue Rabbit that also resummons itself. Then you can then you can use it on the next turn."
Quick effect, by the way.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just
just
constantly being able to establish floodgates in a format where tempo is everything is insane. And the fact that you can also be like, oh, you might be saying, well, oh, you have a bunch of weak monsters, so I'm just gonna summon a body. Well, joke's on you. I have a way to stop. I have a way to stop you from normal summoning or special summoning. And if you're trying to attack me, I have a way to get around that. And if you have something that I can't respond to, then I can just summon bamboo shoot, and then look, no spells and traps for you at all.
yeah, safe to say, not healthy, not good, no good, very bad.
Ironically, though, Naturia Dragon is still legal. I mean, wait, Naturian, yeah. No, Naturia Barkion's still legal, so we can still negate traps.
Alright, next we got
Speaking of
Lady of the
traps.
Labyrinth. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. It is another Labyrinth boss monster. I think the original Labyrinth boss monster got hit, so I think it's pretty fair that this one got hit. I don't think Labyrinth need any more cards. If anything, they need less, considering it is probably best deck in format. Arguably, just trap hell.
Yeah, we literally banned, like, on release day, we banned, I think it was 6 Labyrinth cards, and the deck is still, like, a tier 1 threat, simply because they have a loopable E-Telly, and a card that says, hey, you know whenever you do a 1-for-1 trade with a trap card? Well, now it's a +1 because you draw a card. It's pretty crazy. And Labyrinth of the Silvern Castle would literally say, "Hey, now you can't remove my traps, and also I can set a trap for my deck just for no reason, you know, quick effect."
Yeah, Konami constantly tries to make traps good again by putting them in archetypes that are extremely broken and completely overtuned. In this deck, in this like format, any of those decks is just going to be instantly broken, because like this is a format where you can actually play traps, and traps have value. So when you're playing traps that were specifically given extra value by Konami, you kind of get some crazy shit happening.
Sorry, which Banlist is this?
We're going through the Darkwing Blast one right now.
October 18th.
Okay, found
So
it.
next up on the ban list, the next one we're talking up is War Ninja Misian. Or he might have had his name changed. But basically, we're talking about ninja nerfs, which we actually had to recently nerf again in the most recent ban list.
War Ninja is War Ninja's the the fusion?
Fusion.
This card was broken because you could just make it with any 2, so you could also just get the one that fusion summons and just make it on summon 2, and then actually get the summon on the same turn. And it lets you attack directly, so Ninja, which is a deck that just snowballs, can now just deal damage too.
Yeah, so basically it's Thunder Dragon Colossus that also makes it to where you don't have to interact with your opponent's monsters on the board, since you can just get around them. So one of Ninja's weaknesses is the fact that all their monsters are kind of low, except for like the high level ninjas, which are kind of our bricks, which are balanced out by being bricks that you summon off a ninjutsu art. Get around it because like, oh cool, you have an entire field of like monsters or like defense position monsters. Cool. I'm just gonna ignore that and just beat over them, while also constantly being able to recycle bodies and cycle spells and traps. It was really powerful in testing, and the fact that it's just any 2 ninjas with different types, it just puts it above and beyond. And then you can imagine how out of hand this gets whenever you combine him and the Link 2 ninja that makes it to where it makes the ninjas makes them to where they can't be targeted by attacks or effects. So then you get like a pseudo towers that makes all your monsters be able just to get around your opponent's stuff.
Yeah, I think Ninjas is still crazy even after the hits, which I think is kind of funny, Because I remember just a little while ago, Ninja was like the big funny. Like, haha, look at guys, Ninja has some new cards, and now Ninja
Yeah.
actually does have new cards that actually do work.
Yeah, back then the best ninja play was special summon out Penguin Brave and set Penguin Soldier. That was the best that was the best ninja play. And now you're able to go like Hanzo, search out what's that the quick play, but we'll get onto that in the next ban list because
Yeah.
we had a nerf ninjas again. So
Alright.
next up is Fateful Adventure. So this one takes a bit of explaining to do because for a while Adventure in Trinity was like an engine in one of the best decks, and then we had to like fight to nerf it.
Yeah, it was good Noble Knight. I remember playing against it, and Faithful would just keep searching the Donnell, which you could recycle with the Amogus guy.
Yeah, and the fact that also it counts as a Noble Knight card, which then turns on your Boars and your Madrat, and means they're also searchable by other cards. Just crazy. So if you don't know, in Trinity, we have all the adventure monsters legal, and the only one that's banned is Rite of a Messier and Fateful of Adventure. The reason being is that if they're both legal, you could establish an Omnigate turn 1 is only 2 summons, and we don't want that. And so we're all like, okay. So even with Rite of a Messier banned, Fateful Adventure can still do some pretty broken stuff with Curse of Amir and the new Celestial. And so we're all like, well, you know what? Let's just like basically future-proof our ban list and just get rid of the 2 best cards, Adventure and Rite of a Samir. So now you're just basically playing level 7 bodies that can special summon themselves and kind of crappy equip cards.
I don't understand why Aramethir is banned when Aramethir is legal. Aramethir is clearly a better card.
Obviously.
Amateur is let's not get into ban list politics right now, even though we're literally talking about the ban list.
Grr, I want to talk about the I want to talk about politics. I want this deck to be tier 1. Why can't you give me Eaglin back, bro? He wasn't that strong. I just went. I just went XO in
Flop, can you get closer
Swiss.
to your mic?
Oh, my fault, OG. I got you. Yeah, let me get closer for my feet. All right. Next up, we got Final Battle at Golgahanda. I think, doesn't this card just say Special Summon?
No, this card. Here, you just read it out, and then you'll just
All right,
basically
so
realize this and just read it.
it's Great Sansi. Yeah. During your phase, you have Fallen Abbas in your field or in your graveyard. Special summon Speaking Monster from your hand or deck. It just says special summon for the deck. 2 is from the deck.
No,
Searchable.
we're going down.
Oh. If my card you control will be destroyed with battle card effect, you can send 1 fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz as material from your extra deck to the graveyard instead.
So it's dogmatic. It's Nadir. It's Nadir that also protects your whole field. So yeah, it wasn't even the Springer's effect. The Springer's effect could literally like be on there. Nobody would bat an eye. It's the fact that it says, hey, your entire board is now protected, and anytime your opponent tries to remove it, you can foolish a body and then search out the Dogmatica package. Because you can send Titan-clad.
I didn't
and then just
even
get
notice that line of text. I'm gonna be honest, but it's
yeah,
fine.
that's the broken part. Because in testing, as soon as whoever got to go Indiana first, basically made it to where their body. Oh yeah, and the fact that it protects from battle and card effect. So you can just like, oh cool, you have a big monster. I'm just gonna crash into it. I'm just gonna attack into it, protect it, send Titanic-clad or send any body, and you're just in rotation. Or even if they try to remove Gondana, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. You activated like Twin Twisters. Doesn't really matter. My board's protected, and I'm gonna get a +1 off of that. So it's very sticky, and it also nets you an advantage. And the fact that you can proc it yourself too is just very gross.
Yeah, pretty disgusting card. All right, next we got Terrors in the Hidden City. I am not 100% sure why this was banned. It seems like a good card. Yes. Yeah, face-down monsters cannot be targeted. Gain a bunch of stuff. I mean, yeah. It's probably pretty good.
Here's the thing. No, here's the thing. The reason why this card is overpowered is the numbers. the fact that it says flip monster you control that were flipped face up while this card was face up on the field gain 1,500 attack and defense. That is a massive jump in power.
Big.
Yes, and the thing is, it doesn't matter if they were you manually flipped them up, they were attacked into. They gain a permanent 150 attack buff for attack and defense.
Oh, that's permanent.
And they all, yes, it's permanent.
Oh dang.
So you can imagine how overpowered that gets with like with sub terrors, and even like smallest stuff like what's his name? Let me pull something up. Like for example, Rishadal Windy turns into a 3,025 from just being flipped face up and summons another body. Or like for example, let me pull up a sub terror, any sub terror. Let me pull up the weakest sub terror, level 8. Okay, so Volt Tarun, the Thunder one, becomes a 3,400 with 45,000 defense from being flipped face up.
That's pretty good.
So, yes, it's the numbers game actually, because you're able to just to turn wimpy bodies into just insane beat sticks that also had targeting protection while they were face down. And if your opponent removes it, oh cool, I'm just gonna get a monster reborn. Thanks, man. So this might be one of the first times ever that a card has been hit just because of the number it has on it, and the fact that it's a permanent buff.
Yeah, that's pretty valid. That's pretty fair. Pretty fair hit. All right, next we got Metal Foes combination. Pendulum is gone. Stephen J. Trifanowski malding right now. How did it take so long? That's my question.
I agree with you 100%. I was literally that guy that was telling everybody, why did we give back combination? Pendulum has literally been a top tier contender for the past like 6 months. It has topped almost every single Follow has topped every single event, and the reason why he's been topping is because you give him combo makes it to where any meta foe plus any other face up card on the field means you can then, on the very least on the crackback, set up scales and have the Metal Foes fusion in rotation so you can just body your opponent. So combo basically just said, hey, Metal Foes combo basically said, hey, I'm going to establish my board while also getting pluses because I'm popping cards Metal Foe fusion, setting up a fusion. So you have to beat whatever I establish, plus you also have to knock out my scales, and you also have to get rid of my Metal Foes combo without destroying it by card effect. Because if you do, I'm just going to search out another body and I'm going to have scales then. So you have to out whatever he established, plus scales, plus combo. So that you have to out 5 cards at the very least. And if you don't know, if you go second, you start off with 6 cards. So it got out of hand really fast, and Fola was just able to consistently outgrind or out-tempo any other deck in the format because combo just allowed him to constantly have a scale and also have power plays, and he can also recycle it with the what's this called, the Metal Foes, the bounce girl.
I forgot her name. She's the new one, I think.
No, Mithorium.
Oh.
So
that's stupid.
Yeah, and sometimes combos will get out of hand because you'll go, okay, Metal Foes, pop cards, set combo, Pendulum summon out, Pendulum Sorcerer, pop combo, net 3 searches. So yeah, it's the fact that the deck, yeah, you're able to like literally just out-tempo any other deck in the game with Metal Foes combo, and thankfully, since it's got hit, Photo actually hasn't topped. Would you look at that?
It's almost like I was carried by good deck. But you didn't hear me say that.
Yeah, and the thing is, there are so many Pendulum defenders. Like literally, Pendulum will win 3 YTCs in a row. Well, the next list will take a card away from them, and literally the next list afterwards, maybe we were too harsh on Pendulum. Let's give them something back. I hate it. You see that every single ban list after we nerf Pendulum, they're like, well, maybe we can give him 1 card back.
Nah, I think it's so just because the Trinity server is being secretly run by Big Pendulum, and we are just...
That is true.
We are the unlighted masses.
Definitely one person might just be Triff, and Folo might just be Triff in disguise. I mean, I've never heard Folo's voice.
Actually.
He might just be Triff in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and enough about Pendulum Gate. Let's move on to something else. Some lore cards.
Scareclaw Twinsaw. Yeah, let's not give one of the top contenders in the format, a archetypal Icarus attack. I think it's better than Icarus attack, right?
Yeah, mainly because it says it's better than Icarus attack in the sense that it's super searchable, because you can go normal summon any Scareclaw, link off into the Funko Pop. Funko Pop searches the field spell. Field spell searches Reinhardt, and then Reinhardt whenever you normal summon Reinhardt, or whenever you summon Reinhardt, Reinhardt searches any Scareclaw card, so you can search Twin Saw. And then there's also, where's that card? I'm pretty sure there's a Scareclaw card that recycles spells and traps. So then you can always constantly have it in rotation after you used it first. So it's super searchable Icarus attack that also you can loop over the course of many turns. At the very least, Shiranui Swallow Slash, it's semi-searchable, but like you have to play a really bad card for it. And sure, is Swallow Slash, it's slightly better than Icarus attack and a little bit crappy searchable, but at least you can't loop it like you can Twin Saw. And there's not a link one that searches a card that then searches it. Because like Scareclaw already is amazing at being able to net advantage, because you just go, okay, I'm gonna summon out Reinhardt. I'm gonna make the Funko Pop. I'm gonna summon Reinhardt. Search the Reborn. Make the Funko Pop. Search the Field Spell. Field Spell. Search out any other body I need. That's like it's a +2 in card advantage. And then you have follow up for next turn. And what's it called? And the Field Spell can also pop a monster for some reason. So that's almost a +3 in card advantage. Jesus. So yeah, so you don't want to give one of the most consistent decks that can also net advantage a archetypal Icarus attack. So you can just basically blank even more card advantage.
Fair enough. All right, so that's it for the forbidden cards from Darkwing Blast. Now we're going on to the fun stuff. We got Red Cartesia the Virtuous at 1 point. I don't know if this card moved.
It did move. Yeah, the most recent ban list we moved it to unlimited because so I'm gonna be honest, I was playing it a bit too safe with the ban list, because in my head I was like, okay, so Red Cartesia literally says I'm a loopable polymerization that's also at spell speed 2. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it to 1 because what's her name? Ecclesia the Ecclesia V. We saw how powerful that was because it was a recurable level 4 body that could also summon out Sword Soul. So I was like, okay, I want to put this to 1 point just to be safe. And then then after the first event, we're all like, well, you know, maybe Shadal's and Despia need a buff. Let's move it down to unlimited.
Fair enough. So I guess we just completely ignore that.
But why unlimited?
Don't blame me. Blame the community. I wanted to go for it to go to 0.5.
I voted for that to stay at 1 point because all my homies hate Shadows.
Okay.
Or why not just perform a swap of some sort to be able to buff Shadows and / or Despia without introducing a generic fusion enabler that does things that I don't really care to figure out that it does.
Oh,
I guess. I mean, it being unlimited does promote creativity, but that's really all I can think of. I'm pretty sure it's just gonna take one list. It's just gonna take one YTC of Walrus playing this in a Despia package for us to all to see how broken it is.
It's not even gonna take a Despia package. You can literally slap it in anything that has fusions that are level 8 plus, in my opinion, and you can, I guess, fucking give a showcase of what will happen as a result of it. Like, what are some 8+ fusions that have on summon effects that provide like removal or interruption at all?
Oh, and I also forgot it can also special summon itself, but like its special summon effect is only because of Fallen Adabas, but still, that's still a level 4 tuner body that also resummons itself. I mean, also adds itself back because of if you have like a fusion engrave, which is easy as hell with instant fusion or ready fusion.
Yeah, and then combine that with Albaz the Shrouded.
The Shrouded, or the new one, or the level 8 one.
Yeah, combine that with either of those, and then you can special summon it from hand. And then once you get a fusion, as you said, online and into the graveyard, you can then start looping between the two of them.
Welcome
Very
to
strong.
Trinity, the only place where you're going to see a ban list be discussed by and voted on by more than a dozen people, and then we come out saying, damn, why didn't we do this?
Well, that is true.
Okay, so let's move on to the half point section of the October ban list, and let's talk about the two cards that I'm really glad that finally got moved down: Soul Charge and Return from the Different Dimension.
These cards are going to be broken. There's going to be a day and age in which these cards are immensely broken, but currently they are not.
It's 'cause cards like that, they're only fine until someone abuses them. They're taking the format's philosophy of it's fine until proven broken.
That is very true, but like how I see it is that Soul Charge is just a Saki combo card, while RDR is just like a last ditch effort. I'm gonna special summon everything, and maybe hit the summon limit, and then I have to push. They both play heavily into the summon limit, and they're both a bit more stackier than the other ones. But in how I think about it is like, okay, we already have Reborn and Premature Burial unlimited. How could like something that forces you to summon everything or makes it to where you have to choose and also lose your battle phase be as good?
Pepe laughed, he doesn't know.
What is does RDR have any drawbacks at all? I'm not at a situation.
I think it banishes the monsters at the end of the turn.
You pay half your life points, special summon as many of your banished monsters as possible. During the end phase, banish all monsters that are special summoned by this effect.
So the end phase, not your end phase.
During yeah, because like you in Dragon Rulers, you used to summon it to like make a wall in case you're gonna get OTK'd.
Okay.
Because but like it summons half your life points and it forces you to go to the summon limit because you have to summon as many as possible. The only way you can really get around that is if you're able to fill up your whole zones. But then that would mean you would have to have like a lot of banished normal monsters, and the only really deck that can do that is maybe Blue Eyes and maybe Dragon Rulers, but you only play like 2 bodies.
That's not difficult at all. If you just mess with some stuff, you can easily do that in decks like Gem Knights or even Thundra. That's not.
Okay, I'll give you credit. Yeah, Gem Knights is a big one.
It's not what you'd have in mind with the deck, but it's not a hard condition to fill. But if it just banishes during the end phase, you can't really cheat summon limit with it. The only real way you could pull off shenanigans with it, I guess, if the monsters you're summoning back have some sort of like quick effect that you can utilize, like Omega, IP Masquerena, to like get value out of themselves after they're brought back.
Or you can just special summon a bunch of Dragon Darks and then just banish them again.
Infinite advantage generator.
Or you can just special summon some Dragon Darks and search something. Yeah.
Yeah, so right now they're just gonna be those Saki 0.5s that maybe will show up once in a blue moon in some kind of super aggro deck list.
I love sacking. I love sacking so much. It's my favorite thing. All right, now we're here to the really fun part, which is the unlimited section. So we're starting off with Infernoble Knight. Oh, no, because
you missed out.
Well, okay. Well, Double Cross we can go over later because Double Cross is like banned here. Or well, wait, is Double Cross No, does Double Cross come back? No, it does not. Okay, my bad. Double Cross. There we go. Half point. Card is pretty good. You search it off of Jet, and then it's just removal or also revival at the same time. It does everything.
It's just searchable. It's just searchable removal.
Mm-hmm. It's searchable. Do a lot of things. Me good trap.
Right, needed a buff. But we didn't want to give him unlimited Double Cross because then that would be broken as hell. Because then any deck that can set up Gigantic could then get a free disruption.
Why did they need a buff? They weren't
because they weren't good.
Sprite's gonna ask, my friend. Like fine in quotation marks. Fine. A lot of people say fine in this format when they be looking at like Ojama Turbo.
Oh, they were fine in comparison to other things that are overhit, like for example, fucking Ancient Warriors. Yeah.
We just wanted to give Sprite something that wasn't multiple starters. Multiple Sprite starters. So we're like, okay,
That's fair.
at the very least, Double Cross isn't loopable like other power trap cards that were searchable in other archetypes. Dragon Maid Tiding.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that-
Oh, my homies hate
that's,
Dragon Maid.
that's also justified and fair.
All right, so
Okay,
now
so let's
we
move
get
on
onto
to
the
the
unlimited.
unlimiteds.
For real, this time, 100% on my mama. We got the unlimited first off. We're starting with Infernoble Knight Captain Roland. I don't know why this was unhit. Because I feel like Noble Knights is always complained about when it's a deck.
Well, Inferno Knight, Noble Knight, Captain Roland isn't really a Noble Knight card.
Oh, nah, bros, we're
You
running.
can access off of any line in that copy.
We can't really hear you that well, 41.
Also, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we good.
Okay, yeah, we can hear you better now.
Well, rolling from my experience with why it was hit, it was that it's just a generic BLS search card that you always have access to via any Fibrax line. So, you know.
In my personal opinion, it's like after seeing what decks can do now in Trinity, because like right now we're like in one of the most diverse formats in recent years. We're not in like any like tier 1 to tier 0 deck. So like right now the decks right now are like establishing like, okay, I'm gonna search a card, I'm gonna set a disruption. So that's the current pattern we're at. So in my personal opinion, we've kind of like moved past like, hey, I'm gonna invest all my cards. I'm gonna invest like 1 to 2 cards into making Hulk and then summoning out Roland just so I can get a BLS search. We've kind of moved past that to where that would be actually what's it called, game warping at all, or like format defining, because like we kind of moved past BLS. Like at best you can maybe like say, oh, what if you search actually I think BLS is actually the strongest warrior card you can search besides like maybe like Blazeman, but even then Blazeman's already super searchable and heroes aren't really doing
BLS
anything.
or Ninja Starter?
Oh,
BLS,
I mean, hey,
Ninja Starter.
Hulk is a ninja starter?
How
I mean,
can
hey,
the
that's
super into Hanzo into super transfo into full Dino engine stuff like that?
full dino in. I mean, if you wanna invest in instant fusion or like one card Hulk setups in Ninja, be my guest. You're basically just making your jank deck even more jankier.
Have you seen Wide's Dino list? It has like 3 ninja cards in there randomly.
Yeah, because
So
Okay.
bro was saying that like it's worth to run Hanzo so you can search the ninjutsu transformation art that summons any dino from the deck, which I just don't
No,
think
it's
it's
not,
worth.
just include extra copies of your payoffs and just invest into that. But this is getting into deck building stuff. If we want to get into that, then I'd be all for that. But you know.
Yeah, let's finish the Banlist podcast and then we can move over to a deck building podcast. And speaking of deck building, Immortal Dragon Unlimited.
Oh my
Deck-
god, dude, zombies are
Zombies
so
have-
fun. Zombies are so fun, guys. Zombies are so fun.
Don't ask me why that. It is fun when it's not brain dead. Get it?
It's okay. It's not brain dead. I'll give it.
I got
I'll
it.
give you that. Zombies is not a brain dead deck, but I feel like every time I play against it, the person who plays it
does
just
the
gets
same
the
thing
best
over and over
possible
again.
mills. Like actually, just the most goated starting hand, and I just get out advantaged. Like they're up 5 cards, and I'm over here struggling to play.
Yeah.
So that's just
issue
like
with
that's a
zombies
personal
is-
bias thing.
The reasoning behind it, I think, was just to take it off the ban list.
Yeah, that was it. It was like, hey, our zombies are already a great deck, and we have just a random card in there. Let's just give them this, just slightly buff them. I hate it, but like I can kind of
Scarlet's
understand
one
it.
point.
I mean, if we're being honest, we should have just performed a swap of either unlimiting that and either banning or putting to 1 point Swallow Slash, because talking about sacky cards.
That is true. But like, I mean, I guess we do have a lot of zombie players, and like zombies always been like that one deck that's like either it's like one of the most broken like grind decks, or it's been outspeed, it gets outsped by any other deck. And plus, I
It
guess
was
since you can justify like it being in the format now that Bestials are now like in have a presence now, so you can like your lines aren't exactly all as safe as they used to be.
uh, it was broken at
Still
2
singular.
points. It was broken at 2 points with first with Baller Rock and then with Vendred for briefly, but I wouldn't say that we really have a lot of zombie players because, like, beside after the Vendred cards got hit, when was the last time we saw it show up in a tournament?
I've
I
only
guess
ever
that is
seen
true.
zombies and
Also,
looking for
Stefan,
games.
get closer to your mic, Stefan. Okay, let's move on to the
Okay.
one unlimited that I do not agree with 100%. Runic Tip.
I need to talk about this card. I need to talk about this card. I swear to God, this card will be broken. I have tried
It is.
many times. I have thrown it in every list I've made, and I feel like it doesn't quite work. But there is going to be a deck that can abuse the fuck out of this engine and just I swear, there's going to be a deck that can
what deck is
use
it?
the ability to banish your opponent's cards from the top of the deck to just remove
Runic.
options from their deck. And besides
You
even
do
that,
know.
one card tip represents MST. It represents Fiendish Chain. It represents a pop. It represents potentially a +3.
Dude,
Yeah, but
you
like,
don't have to worry. Just just give Sparky a weekend, then he'll show up to the next YTC with some
I try to
ridiculous
break Runic so
abomination.
hard.
It's
Like
it
there
won't
is
take
going to be
much
a
to
cancer
break.
deck. There's going to be a cancer deck that runs like Swift Scarecrow and mills you out with these cards.
Well,
And
like, you know, the issue is that
it is potential. It is potential.
you do know that it's been ruled that you if your opponent is at a like if your opponent's like at 2 cards and you activate a Runic card that says banish the top like 3 cards, you can't activate it because they can't banish the cards from the top of the deck. You do know that was ruled like that. So
Yeah,
it's
but
like
if they have
really
2 cards left in
hard.
their deck, I only need to stall 3 turns.
I get, you know what, you know, you do have that. Like, the issue with Runic is that the fact that you're skipping your battle phase is so big in Trinity when like most removal is monsters. So unless you're able to get around removing your opponent's cards, you're never gonna win with Runics unless you have one of the most like insane like mill decks that we've ever seen.
I
And not
think
self mill.
I mean, we do have an
You
insane
can
mill
also
deck in format right now. We do have. Did we hit Reasoning Gate?
No, we didn't hit Reasoning Gate because it's
Done the buffed it.
Yeah,
Because
Reasoning
yeah,
Gate
so
is
you have
very
to have
sacky. Yes,
force.
yes, indeed, it is very sacky. But I think like Reasoning Gate is the only deck that's really abused the runic cards, because you can just put them all in the graveyard and then just activate one from your hand and just shuffle them all back and draw 3 more cards, and you just have an infinite cycle of runic
Also
cards.
use your body for monster gate.
Mm-hmm.
but
that
like
is very true.
what's it called? Reasoning Gate is just one of those high. It's a high roll deck. You got to be honest, it's a high roll deck.
It is a high
And it's
roll
really
deck, but it high
fun to
rolls a
show it
lot of
off.
the time.
Okay, so next up, Unlimited Mutant Cry, and let's let 41 explain it to us.
Yeah, Resident Mutant fan.
So was this? So remind me again. What was the swap in regards to this? Was this Mutant Cry?
This was Mutant Arsenal and
46 man?
ST46 for Mutant Cry.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, this should have first off that anything that once again this should have just been a conditional, which like with either ST46 or Arsenal getting yeeted and then getting Cry back, not both of them, then we get Cry, in which there's nothing really to talk about there. It's just mutants going to kind of unplayable. Not really unplayability. They're playable as a splash, but not really as an archetype, because you possess no innate way to be able to search out their spell and trap card, which therefore Cry becomes useless.
It just becomes another sack card. Yippee! All right.
Yep.
So that's
And-
it for Dark. Wait, do you have something else to say?
Oh, I was gonna bring up the fact in the most recent ban list, didn't we bring back Arsenal?
We might have.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
about-
know. I haven't really checked the new ban list. I just checked to see if map was like a thing, which originally when I checked it, it wasn't. But apparently Walrus had to edit it and add it on because I guess bro forgot.
Because we forgot about a person to follow. Yeah, follow forgot to vote. So I posted a tweet that said, "Hey, new Trinity ban list," and then literally follow said, "Hey, I forgot to vote." So then he changed the ban. Two cards like changed on the ban list.
Thank you, Folo. I know I just absolutely despise you with my entire heart for you playing Pendulum, but my goat. But that's it for Darkwing Blast, and now we're going on to Magnificent Mavens. As I said before, there was only a month between these ban lists because there was only like a month between the set releases. So we just had back-to-back ban lists. That kind of covered up some of the holes still left unpatched by the last ban list, and also some new cards that got hit. I think probably
Only like one new
Yeah.
card I think got hit. Oh, two new
think-
cards. Two new
yeah.
cards. Well, actually, wait.
No,
One
three.
new card and one semi-new card.
Yeah. All right, but let's just start from the top. First, we got Prediction Princess Terratrith. I think this card just says special summon from the deck.
Yeah, that's
Cause
So
See,
yeah,
the phrase is way legal, but it involved jumping through hoops. And I don't know how many of you guys actually saw the replay. One of the replays, but basically it was a 2-card combo where you just auto win, pretty much. Where you
Mhm.
can set up floodgates, hand rip, board wipes, etc. for little to no cost.
you also do it within the summon limit, and you do it with and you only do it with 2 cards, and your rest of your hand can literally be anything else.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, it's a 2-card specific combo where if you open other lines, then yes, you can get to like interruption as well, but you don't get as much value off of opening pre-prep plus territory.
I feel like that's
The main
pretty
issue
easy
was
to
the
open
fact
though,
that-
right?
It is easy with like Diviner and like all the ritual support that we have nowadays with incantations.
Yeah, the combo was very specific on that you couldn't use any summons until you had to summon Terratray, then you had to revive Terratray, and then you had to flip Terratray to summon whatever flip monster you wanted to use to be able to ruin your opponent's deck. And then you reset Terratray, and you flip it up again, summon like something else, and you flip them both up, and your opponent cries.
Dude, you could cycle Forbidden Jar. That okay?
Yeah.
It would have been broken, but it would have been sick.
Well, that's
It-
not the
it
most
was-
broken one. Oh yeah, you can get a hand rip. Yeah, you can get hand rip.
You can get hand rip. You could, I think it was.
Sonic Jammer says your opponent can activate spells.
Somehow.
Yep. Then you have like the dog that doesn't allow you special summon, Searchlight Man, etc., etc. Just stuff like that.
There's a lot of broken flip targets.
Yeah.
And the fact that it has an alternative summoning condition that properly special summons it is what really put it over the top. Because like if it wasn't for the alternative summoning condition, the main combo would be next to impossible. Well, there'd be a lot of hoops that you have to jump through. But because it can be summoned off of the original ritual just from the graveyard, means you can just take full advantage of being able just to be like, okay, let me just I can just dump this into the graveyard, and then when I eventually do summon the original Prediction Princess, I have full combo. I have all of the gas in the world. I just have to go end phase and I get my full combo set up.
Yep. Pretty much.
All right,
Very
next we
fun
got
Okay.
interactive.
Witchcrafter Vice Madame. I know this card in particular was being tested a lot and looking for games with, I think it was Hein, which is the Dryden, being banned. I guess we just decided that this was the problem card and that this card should be banned, which I think is fair because this card does read like this card reads broken. I think that's like a given. And broken card, I guess.
Typically-
Broken card get hit.
And typically with new cards in the format, if you have to jump through hoops to keep it legal, just don't bother. Just ban it. It sucks, but it's the easiest and most foolproof way to make sure that no problem arises from it.
Yeah, because if a new card creates a problem, you can either spend multiple seasons like, okay, let me like, what if we limit the searcher for the archetype? What if we limit the card that sets it up? Or what if we just don't go through that and just ban the problem card, ban the card that's making the problem in the first place as a new piece of support? That's like why we on release just like ban problem cards. Like, sure, we can spend all the time and effort to balance witchcraft to the point to where Madame can be seen as like a decent payoff, like how Lord Furious Dragon is with dragons. But that would require so much effort, and also that means we could also end up with YTCs where people have to actually stare down Vice Madam, and she has like all the protection in the world and has Hane in hand. Not Hane, Aruru in hand.
Yeah, so your options would be extremely limited, and it would be like playing against basically full power Witchcrafter with Hane plus Madame Fair.
Oh my god, that was the worst format ever. Oh my god, that was such a terrible format.
Yeah, let's not talk about waifu war formats.
That was so doggy.
Are you kidding me? That was fine.
That was so doggy. That was such a doggy format. Don't you even be speaking, bruh. Aw.
Okay.
All right, next.
So
we have a really funny ban. I think this is very interesting. We have Exchange of the Spirit band, which I think is pretty unique. That we like instead of hitting the Ishizu cards, we hit what could potentially make them over the top. Cause I guess it is kind of high roll. Cause I feel like whenever I play this, like I know I play DTD, like another Mika format. And I run that in like a Earthbox deck I got, and I basically never mill it off of any of my cards. But I guess if you do get this into the graveyard and you have like the Ishizu cards still in your deck, you do just kind of win the game because they all read like 1,000 times more broken if you have that in the graveyard. So I mean, yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, you can also just Lavolval chain it into the graveyard and call it a day.
That too.
So the main reason why Exchange of Spirits was hit was because I personally wanted Gravekeeper's Trap to be unlimited, and Gravekeeper's Trap probably wouldn't fly with the fact that it says while Exchange of Spirits is in your graveyard, your opponent cannot. So it's basically like a Necro Valley that has search cards in the form of Oracle and Protector. And I was like, well, how can I balance this? Oh, I know. I can just hit the one crappy trap card that nobody has ever touched in their life. And then we can keep What?
No, sorry. Keep going.
Okay, so we banned the one crappy card that enables its floodgate effect, much like how we banned Dragon Maid House for Dragon Maid Shihu. And then now Earth Fairy now has a search card that also sets up the Ishizu cards. So now we have more graveyard control to counter chaos decks.
But I mean, it's banning stuff for floodgates is basically to like.
That's kind of a hoop. You're kind of jumping through a hoop.
I would say like anything involving floodgates nowadays in the format is kind of a joke because of literally the fact that like once again we still have Shen at one point.
Quiet Life is still legal, by
the way.
We still have
Bagusta.
Completely unlimited.
Yep, we have Baguska. If you look back, you can find that one YTC where I played Sharks and I just played Baguska Turbo, and every time I did, I said, "Isn't this fun?" We still
and
have
also, what's his name? As a thought.
Yes, I think we still do have that. We still have a lot of floodgates still perfectly legal, and so
Dimensional Barrier.
Well, yes, that is also another very fun and interactive card.
I think the real question to ask is Gravekeeper a deck now that has a card that just says search any Gravekeeper. Like,
You do.
because
It's
now
just
you
any
can
Earth Fairy.
consistently get Priestess on the field.
It's not. It's as much.
I
of a
know it's
deck
still
as
doggy,
was
but
back
it's like you can play it now, which I think is really funny.
you can play it before. Just go find Mika's old list.
Well, like you can play it without having to like open like a one of, because now you have a card that is searchable by another card that just can consistently add you Gravekeepers. Which is great,
Yeah,
but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Card broken. We don't want Floodgate. Floodgate bad. But Bagusta and Quiet Life and Chen Chen still legal because we don't talk about that. Big pendulum. Big pendulum.
We sacrificed one crappy card so that so that the Vertilizer could live. Okay, a soul for a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we destroy the goddess though?
No, Goddess is just completely unlimited.
Yeah, Vertiso Goddess is unlimited mainly because like it requires a lot of you have to invest into it with Vertilizer and also what's it called
And by a lot, you mean exactly one card, or like
but
one
then
and a
you're
half
locked into
cards.
Earth.
And that's a joke. It requires like any of those. It requires any of like the 2 or 3 that like can get access to it, plus any revival, and then you have it online.
It do not matter. Card good. I don't know. Maybe something to think about for next ban list. But now we got the next one. We got. I think this is the most controversial hit I've seen in a while. Branded Regained. I feel like people were really split on this. There was a portion of people who saying this card is completely fine unlimited. There's a portion of people who said this card doesn't need to be banned, but it needs to be taxed in some way because the card just generates too much advantage. And then there was also a group of people just like, this card's stupid, it shouldn't be allowed, disband it. And I guess the people who wanted to ban won.
So
1 vote.
yeah, by 1 vote it got banned. So Branded Regain on paper looks fair in the sense they're like, okay, so I activate it once, and then if a Light or Dark gets banished, I can recycle it and draw 1. But that's where it gets kind of like what's it called, deceptive, because then you keep on reading down, and you get to the effect that summons the Bestials, and then that's when everything goes crazy.
It's just another new card that's overstat. Even if it just recycled the Light and Darks, it would still be pushing it, in my opinion. But with the revive effect slapped onto it, it's just like, yeah, no.
And the fact that it's in one of the best mill archetypes, or not mill archetypes, more like graveyard reliant archetypes, branded, which basically says, hey, we have a card in hand, we have a level 8 that literally says mill a branded card from the deck that also can banish itself to then add back a card. So you're able to like you're able to loop Regain, and Regain also recycles your branded monsters that want to be banished. And they also cycle your Bestials, which what's his name? Sonar mills a branded name, and Druid Worm literally removes a body. And if your opponent at all tries to play the game, oh, here comes a 25 body that has a floating effect. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right, next we got, I think, one of the most deserving hits for a deck that really went undiscovered until like exactly right before the YTC, which is Goaty. Like, this deck is stupid. This deck is very stupid. This deck is extremely stupid.
It is very stupid.
This deck was completely went under the radar, popped up at the YTC. It took like second place, third place.
It took second, and it got 2 tops.
It got 2
It got
tops.
second and 4th.
2 tops in a YTC.
I will say,
how long has it been since the same deck got 2 tops?
I think Sword Soul had like 2 tops, but that was like 2 months ago. I had to check that. I think Sword Soul got 2 tops, but not in the same YTC. In the same season, yeah, but not in the same YTC.
In the same YTC, it got 2 tops. This might be just due to more people playing the deck, because usually there's only one person playing every single deck. But like, the fact that this deck was being played by 2 people in the first place, and then both of them managed to get into the top cut, I feel like that says a lot about the deck. It's just really good, because you think that if you fill your deck with a bunch of level 6 synchro enablers and not like a whole bunch of protection for said level 6 synchro, you would just draw into a level 6 synchro enabler every single turn. You wouldn't be able to do anything. But if you make the level 6 synchro, you do kind of just win the game.
Yeah, because then you, if you're able to, because like, the fact that the ghosties basically say that, oh, hey, if you remove me and send me to the graveyard, I'm just going to use one of my 20 archetypal cards to then banish myself, and then on the crackback, I'll resummon myself. So they basically have like, they're not really, they don't really have protection. More so, they have like recurability, and that's also really broken recurability because they play on your opponent's turn. Meaning that, like, oh sure, you might have like mirror forced my level 8 monster, but then I'll just banish it, get the body back, and I basically went +1 because you had to waste a mirror force while I have my body on the board that can then convert into Goatee of the Deep Beyond. And Goatee of the Deep Beyond literally says
Win the game.
Nuke everything, and then I'm gonna punch you for over 5,000 damage.
It just says
I don't really
win the
think anything
game.
else can out that.
It was the most broken card in format. If you're like, because you'd think it would be a win more card, but you could just kind of make it on like your third playing turn.
Yeah, on your third turn you can literally summon it.
Completely annihilates the entire field. This deck did not, in my eyes, look to be something that was going to be all too great, because I felt like the standby phase summoning would cuck you out of your summon for the turn, because you kind of need to have those bodies on board. But I guess the fact that it plays in your opponent's turn, and also the fact that the cards are just really good, kind of just made this deck good. And so Goatee of the Beyond got banned. I mean, if the deck continues to be an issue, I would advocate for a hit to level 6, because I feel like that's kind of where the deck, all the problems are stemming from, is it just makes that card, and that card just converts into everything. But
yeah, that is true.
I will say, in regards to it, the deck wasn't under the radar wide, and I was perfectly aware that it was broken as shit. But we just didn't know how to hit it. And
yeah, we didn't know how broken it was. We just saw it. We just saw it. We're all like, "Oh, cool! They got a new level 6. Oh, cool! They got a new level 2 that summons itself. Those would be fine." But then after seeing that, oh wait a minute, these are just more names that can banish themselves or other bodies, which then enables you to just consistently keep all your monsters in rotation. And Goatee Fury is still one of the most broken cards I've ever read for how much it just removes stuff.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to the one Goatee fish monster that raises attack by 500 points, actually mattering in like 3 of my games.
Stat boosts always matter.
Shout out to 500 attack point boost. Yeah, this card
All my homies hate 500 attack
broken.
boost.
We should overfish these stupid things out of the water. I don't like them. They're filled with mercury, and they're also abhorrent beings that are going to steal my soul. But it doesn't matter. We're going on to ninjas now. We saw a ninja hit before, and now we're seeing a ninja hit again. Ninjutsu Art Notebook of Mystery, and I guess also we can... Was anything else hit here for ninja, or was it just that?
It was just Ninjutsu Art of Mystery because, okay, so Ninjutsu Art of Mystery
Plus 15.
It's what, it's hard to say, but it's basically Rhoda plus E-Telly. Because no, it's not Rhoda plus E-Telly, it's more like, it's Reborn plus Rhoda, because it says, at quick effect speed, I'm going to reset one of my flip ninjas while setting any ninja disruption from my deck or ninja starter, or I can do it the other way around. I can set any ninja disruption or recovery, and then summon any ninja from deck face down.
Yeah,
and
this
you can
card
imagine
is...
how out of hand that can get.
This card is Pot of Greed, essentially. It is just free +1. Card very stupid. Don't know how it existed in the first place, but you know, I'm glad it's gone.
And then you can loop it. It's like I can't really find a comparison. The best thing I can think of is kind of like Dragon Maid Chamber, but without any disruption. It's just a thing that you're always able to constantly recycle and nets you just so much advantage. And it's also able to insulate you by searching out revival and more monsters. And the fact that it's it also has a what's it called? It also has a graveyard effect that comes up sometimes, being able to flip. It has an effect whenever it's removed, being able to change the effect position of monsters, which includes your own. So you can just like straight up just flip out a ninja, and then get some more pluses. It's just insane.
Yeah,
it's a very overtuned card.
crazy card for a pretty crazy archetype.
It had a graveyard effect, and I still knew it was broken.
I
Yeah,
swear
we
to
probably
God,
should have seen this coming.
the remove from field effect probably came up one time. All right, next we got 1 point cards, starting off with Artifact Dagda, the bane of TCG players, and also apparently the bane of Trinity players. I'm assuming this was used just exactly how it was in the TCG, where you just summon a guy and it just does a lot.
No, it's more so the fact that you could so this card was mainly abused in Scareclaw or like any other deck that can like go plus 20. The entire thing about it is like, okay, cool. I'm gonna use any 2 bodies, make a Dagda, activate any card, and then I'm gonna set a moral attack from the deck. And now on your turn, if you activate anything, I'm gonna get another moral attack from the deck. And now it doesn't matter what you're gonna do. At the end of the turn, I'm gonna pop 2 cards. That's the whole thing. The fact that it just it's delayed +2 that requires any 2 monsters, and the fact that it also means you're also playing the artifact package, meaning you can add Sanctum, you can add Lancia to stop chaos monsters, and you can also play Ignition, which is basically a better MST.
Also, you could Cyclock, which I don't think came up, but I think it's funny.
Yeah, you can Cyclock somebody in Trinity is like basically like flipping D-Berry on them, like, okay, fine, I don't get to play for 1 turn. But like it could have come up. But like we didn't want to outright ban it because we're like, okay, it's a Link 2 that can see play in a bunch of decks. And it's not really doing anything degenerate just yet. There isn't like a broken artifact that basically says your opponent you draw 2. And the fact that it's delayed means you can semi-play around it. But like it's one of those cards where it's like okay, so we wanted to hit the Link 2, the generic Link 2. Yeah. We're gonna see over time how it works. Hop in, Burrito.
I chime in for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Chime in, go off.
What did I? Good question. Regarding the Dagda, the main thing that I found from my experience with it is that more so than the advantage that it nets, it gets tempo, which matters a lot in decks that you can freely make it. Like, for example, as I was using it in Scareclaw, specifically because I didn't necessarily need interruption in the deck because, I wasn't really committing to that and I had revival. As long as I was able to get the Reichheart into the graveyard or get access to it for next turn, I was golden. But what needed was guaranteed setup to be able to get max value out of the cards, in which a card like Dagda, with the fact that if your opponent tries to play the game at all, allows you to go more plus, would then give you access to either draw 1 or to pop 2 face-up cards, as I was using it in the YTC with double Moral Talk, where due to that value plus the bodies that it would get online, it would cause a snowball effect, which you were able to see that where I think there was twice, or turn 2, I randomly just OTK'd people with 2 Moral Talks and like a random rank 4 and a Reichheart. And it was just stuff like that. Sorry?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming at. It's not the fact that the bodies remove. It's the fact that Dagda generates 2 bodies. You could really you would still play it if you were like if it was unlimited and let's say for example Moral Attack was banned. Would you still play it just because it could potentially summon 2 bodies that you can then follow up with?
Most likely, unless I found when specifically Scareclaw found a better payoff that you could get to with the opener, because without Twin Saw, Scareclaw just kind of generates empty advantage. But with a card like Dagda as a payoff where you open Reichheart or any of the Scareclaw monsters or the field spell, plus any extender in the form of a token generator, instant/ready fusion, Hornet Drones, Shade Brigandine, etc. With that, it gave a payoff that you were able to convert that into more tempo.
You're able to convert it into raw advantage because of the field spell, and God forbid you make the Link 3. Because I was testing Lancia. I mean not Dancia, Dagda like years ago in Dragon Maids of all things, because I was like, okay, I miss Spears, I need a Link 2. But like, I made Dagdia, and then I was like, okay, I have 2 level 5 bodies. What am I doing with them? There's nothing good I can really make. There's no real good link payoff in dragons. But in the context of Scareclaw, those bodies are numbers for your field spell, and they're also just free link materials for tryhards.
Exactly. And I didn't end up using it, but like for example, like 2 level 5 bodies that are light Pleiades, or you can make the artifact exceed. It's just with a card like Dagda, with the amount of stuff that you can do with it for free, basically. In my opinion, it shouldn't go unlimited because once people start messing with it, you're just opening a whole new can of worms, and things are just going to spiral downwards from there. I'm not even sure if it's fine at one. To be honest,
at least with the 1 point tax, you have to like commit to it. You're like, okay, so do I justify playing the 1 point and the entire artifact package? Because you have to go, okay, do I play do I invest 2 points into the link 2 and the second moral attack, or do I just play 1 point and just only play one moral attack and then like a few other artifact names? It becomes a bit better because then it's like more of an impactful choice.
Mm-hmm. What I've been messing with after it ended up getting hit to 1 point was specifically testing a point spent on Dagda, then the rest being a Moral Talk, a Vajra, a Caduce. I don't know how to. The Caduceus? Caduceus? Yeah, Caduceus.
The Caduceus?
Caduceus. Yeah, the one that gives you a draw 1 when an artifact is special summoned. And Sanctum. I've been messing with that because, might as well. If it gets hit, then it's not worthwhile to invest 2 points into a situational opener that you might not always get. But that's just me. That's getting into the theory stuff.
Okay, but so that's a lot of artifact talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
move on.
Good discussion. Good discussion. All right, next we got a little bit of a switch up here. We have a compromise, I would say, I guess I call this like a compromise hit. We have Jory Punk Madame Spider to 1 point, and we have Emergency Teleport to unlimited. I think this is a good decision because I'm guessing the entire reason why Emergency Teleport was hit in the first place was because you could summon Spider, and then Spider just says add disruption.
And mutants.
And mutants. But now mutants is gone. Madame Spider is at a higher point value. So I think it's prime to bring back. It's cool in decks like Cosmo and Chaos with the Assault Mode package. That's always cool.
Libros.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that opens up having it unlimited. And yeah, I mean it's a fair compromise.
Yeah, because like other psychic decks shouldn't be punished for punch sins. Because like I think they're because the reason why I can understand it last season when we had a nerf mutant as well. So we're like, okay, we're gonna limit the best psychic monster in the game, and we're also gonna limit the summoner. Then afterwards we're like, okay, well we just nerfed mutants, and now psychic as a type are really bad. So what if we just like move up the best punk, and then we can move down the E-Telly. So now other psychic decks like mutants or stuff like Geek Boy, or heck, even the new dice card, the psychic that says roll a dice and then potentially pop 2 cards.
Psychic Rover.
Yeah, psychic. So overall, a really good change because it means that more psychic decks can come back. Libromancer's best deck next season, telling you.
The best deck, baby. Let's go. All right, we have another compromise here as well for 1 point. We have Sprite Starter to 1 point and Gigantic Sprite to unlimited. This effectively does nothing but take cards off the list, which I'm fine with.
I was talking to Walrus about it last season, I think, in Banlist discussion. And it was like, well, we should take one of them off the list because we have 3 Sprite cards at half. And nothing really happened. And this time we decided to go 1 point starter because double cross is a thing now.
Sprite Starter, in my opinion, is the most broken card. You can't have Sprite Starter be unlimited because what Sprite Starter represents is that you summon blue searches Jet searches starter, you set starter, overlay into whatever, Crackback, starter, summon out another copy of Jet. Jet searches a second starter. Having multiple starters, in my opinion, is just overpowered because you're able to consistently always have a level 2 body for like your carrot or your red or just any level 2 body that you need at the time. So putting it to 1 point makes it to where, yeah, you have to commit to it. And with Gigantic being unlimited, now any other rank 2 deck, like, I don't know, fairies that want to play a Melfi package can do it freely without having to suffer having to be a 0.5 tax. So it opens up creativity while also keeping Sprite in line.
Yeah, overall good change.
Sprite's buffed in this format because you can't lose in time.
That is true.
All right, next we got the half points. I think this is like probably we're starting to get, as you go down the list, you get to the spicier stuff. Usually this is how it works. But we got Heavy Storm.
This is our response to backer decks.
We got Heavy Storm at half point. Oh my god, this is gonna be the sack card. You will see this card win games.
You thought Lightning Storm was sacky?
Labyrinth.
Could not understand this one.
All I'm saying is,
Nerf Labyrinth, I guess.
if you get hit by this, it is a skill issue purely on your side. You should have just set less cards. You should have just been playing around Heavy Storm the whole game. Just play around the one of in a 60 card deck. It's not that hard, bro.
Shoutouts to Twin Twisters missing the ban list by 1 point.
But imagine if we pressured admins to revoke that content.
Oh my god, imagine. If we could actually pressure admins into doing anything, this format would be good.
But
hey,
whatever.
at the very
I'm
least
down to
now,
not play any more back row.
now you can't really complain about like, what if I draw my Lightning Storm at the wrong time? Just play Heavy Storm. You'll never draw it at the wrong time.
Easy clap.
Also, Heavy Storm's funny because it like pops your own cards, which might matter sometimes.
Hey, I've been hit by Lightning Storm in the past whenever I set 4. Now the new generation gets to experience the pain.
Wait a minute. This is if we hadn't hit Dagda, we would have had to counter the Heavy Storm.
That is true. That is true.
Well, you can just imagine that this card's probably going to end up on a list, either the next list or the list after that, because it will sack someone, it will win a game, and it will make some type of argument appear. And I think, in my personal opinion, these cards are cool because they like they can counter, like this is a what you call it? This is a trap hell hit. This is a trap hell hit.
This is a deterrent.
This is a labyrinth hit. That's all this does. It's a labyrinth hit. It's a sacky one of labyrinth hit. And this card's going to come up. It's going to win a game, and it's going to be like, these cards. They're cool in theory, but kind of suck in practice because you get the one of. It's like, oh, you got the one of. GG's, I guess.
Well then, just play a smaller deck size so you always see the one off. Speaking of labyrinth hits,
is this bringing us back to Dogmatica format where we had like full power Chaos Dogmatica Thunder Dragon with like Shameless running around with like Godslam? Is this what we're going back to?
Probably. Because hey, people like sacky games because it feels like it's more skill based, back and forth. Yeah, skill based.
It sounds skill based.
Back and forth.
All right.
Good thing we hit.
Well, all my homies hate Labyrinth, and so we got Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch at half point. Now this is a justified hit because this card is being trinity'd in Labyrinth decks, and it's so stupid. This card is a custom card.
This card is literally
a card and then mills
GG.
a card. How does this even? How does fair? How is this? How card?
It's not fair.
It pops a card and then searches another copy of it, or you send Skarm, search tour guide, or you send Farfa, banish another card, or you send what's his name? You send Backjack, and then get another trap.
This is everything. This represents every card in your deck.
Etc. Yeah. It's an
This is literally like this is draw removal or lose to GG, Archfiend GG.
All right, next.
There's literally.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. No. There.
All right.
That's where my point ended.
Next, we got Kairyu-Shin's Dark Reef. This is a swag hit right here. This is a cool
not
hit.
a hit. It's an unhit.
Well, unhit, whatever. Removal. We can call that. We can call it removal of card from the list. It has gone from 1 point and is now to half point. This is definitely a swag hit because I was thinking about this deck, and with what's the new Infernal Queen Salmon. I think that's the name of the card.
Oh yeah, the one that just summons a bunch of tokens.
It summons a bunch of tokens, and this makes this deck 1,000 times better. Just having this card exist. We could definitely see a Legendary Ocean control deck, like not pacifist, like the Legendary Ocean, like the one that reduces the levels.
Yeah, the OG Legendary Ocean.
The OG Legendary Ocean, and I think that would be sick as hell. So I think this is overall a cool hit. The card is really good,
like,
but like it's a cool card, so I don't care.
So like, look, the justification behind Cherishing Dark Reef was like, okay, we hit the single best Yumi card in the deck, and if you want to take full advantage of this, you have to summon water. You have to summon cards that summon, let's say, Yumi or normal monsters. So either you're loading up on a bunch of the crappy old Yumi monsters, or you're playing multiple normal monsters. And we do know that if you're playing multiple normal monsters just for a power one-off card, is not as good, because that's pretty evident by cards by the what's it called? Rocks. Rocks are potentially one of the best decks, but the fact that they have to play at least 6 names, normal monsters, just to be good, makes it to where they're inconsistent as all hell. Because you just constantly you just draw multiple normal monsters and you just brick. Sure, you might get a top, but you won't win. So that was the justification for moving Kairyu-Shin Dark Reef down, and it might go to unlimited, honestly, just because like.
Oh my god! Please put this card to unlimited. That would be so sick. Oh my god, that'd be so sick.
Why?
It cannot.
No, dude, it would be so fair, guys.
Are we forgetting the fact that we're still getting good Umi monsters, and the fact that like you don't have to play any singular bad normal water monster, because we have stuff like dinos and we have stuff like fish or like sharks that we can literally we have Megalo Smasher. You can just run Megalo Smasher.
Or you could summon a bunch of Infernal King Salmon.
Yo, you can summon a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on from one trap. I mean, let's move on from the Dark Reef to another labyrinth hit, Amazement Administrator Arlentino, aka Erica's boyfriend. This card is literally the trap king.
Yeah, this is the multi-faker of the format. It is. Broken. Card broken.
It was, in my opinion, it was mid.
Like what Stefan was saying, he perceived it as mid. Like if you look at it from afar, it's just like, okay, so if I activate a trap, you summon it.
Yeah.
And sure, it can equip a trap from deck.
Beforehand, it only had like one interruption that it could get access to, which, yes, is still a sizable amount. Plus, it had removal attached onto it, but it was still just one interrupt. But now, since it has 2, and yeah,
he's right, because there's so many attraction cards,
and it can recur things back, and it's just like, yeah, no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, there has to be a tax running this card.
Yeah, because like Amazement Argentino wasn't even that good at unlimited, but like just the fact that Trap has been consistently being able to make. It's the fact that Trap was able to just basically go, I'm gonna add GG and I'm gonna add Argentino and I'm gonna add like a couple half point cards. Is what really put it over the edge, because it was able to have so many point cards for free. So we're just basically just giving it a tax to where now it's like, okay, do I run the Amazement package, or do I run like what's a good point card, Solemn Strike, or like
Millions.
Yeah, Eater of Millions. Yeah, it's basically like a tax, because like Trap has actually been, if you ever noticed, Trap has been like been able to like go free with like some of the best like unlimited cards.
Yep.
Yeah, if all these hits don't like destroy Trap as a deck.
Well, last.
Yeah, these kits don't destroy trap decks. They will still play Ghastly Gitch at 0.5, and they might, and they'll, but now they have to like debate on the Amazement package. But they're still
Yeah.
probably gonna run it because like, sure, I get the Amazement package, and I also get any 0.5. I could play what's it called? Crackdown. I can play Titan Insider. I can play TT. That's pretty much worth it. It's just
Yeah.
slightly picking them down a page and affecting their consistency.
Yeah, basically for every single top now that a trap deck gets at a YCC, we're going to bring back one Saki spell / trap removal card. So next time you
Lightning
see
Storms are unlimited.
yeah, exactly. Next time you see a top from this deck, Harpy's Feather Duster coming back. I'm telling you now.
1 point. Harvey's for this is 1 point would be amazing.
I'm telling you now, it's coming back.
Yeah, I can see
All right, next we got what I think is probably
One bird to another.
yeah, one bird to another. We got Philanderies and the Magnificent Map. All right, I think I can take this one here from here because this is my domain. Because I don't know what happened. Like I feel like when I came in and I played this deck, nobody was on it. Like everyone was like, "Yeah, this deck is broken, but we're not gonna go hit it." And then I played it and it was broken, and then it got hit.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Mhm.
This deck is
Sounds
why is nobody
about
playing?
right.
This deck is broken.
Yeah. So Magnificent Map here. I feel like this card can be brought back. Well, it was brought back, and I will
Well, it
have no
was brought back.
issues. I do not see that Floowandereeze is going to be a top deck. I don't see that it's going to be seeing any tops. As good as the card seems on paper, it still requires a 2-card combo in a deck that if you kind of don't open the 2-card combo, you kind of do just lose. That's how the deck, at least how I ran it, which has been historically the only way it's been ran in a tournament setting. It's just kind of just like a turbo FTK
Expert.
deck. Yeah, it's just a turbo FTK deck. You run as many copies of your starter as possible, and then you summon your starter, and you just try to win the game from there. But now, instead of just finding your one starter, you have to find both the starter and the field spell, which is a lot harder than you think it is. Even in like a 35-card deck where you have like Terraforming and like Pot of Extravagance for more
And
for
like
more searching
Small
and stuff.
World,
Mhm,
it's
Small
still super
World
hard.
and all this stuff. It's so hard to get this card. Even with the new Philanderies Journey card, like you will not be seeing, this is like a 20% of the time you'll be seeing these two cards versus, I think I did the math. It was like a 70% chance you would open Robina in that deck I was playing. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean,
But then
I
you
guess,
also have to factor in your opponent's disruption.
and also, even if you open this card plus Rabina, right, and you get the whole combo off, you get Empen on board with the map also on board, and then you get the Rabina and the Toucan in hand. You still don't have Ryza. You get you get forget the name of the card. Stry, there we go. You get the Book of Moon card, but I don't think the Book of Moon card is nearly as strong as Ryza. Still a very strong card.
Ryza was literally the most broken part
Ryza
about
was,
it.
dude, that
But now
was so cool. But now you can't access Ryza.
It was
Ryza's
really
not
cool.
just gonna be a stat card. You cannot search Ryza. You cannot search any of these cards. You will only be seeing consistently. Well, if you get the inconsistent 2-card combo, will be Empen plus Stry, which is, it's still like pretty strong. I'll give it that. Like if you do open the 2-card combo, you do have a strong board, and you can probably make something from that. But that's even if you open the 2-card combo. It's just gonna be like it's gonna be like a non-deck. This will not bring anyone back to playing Philandery, so it will not be a problem at all. I have tested it in play hands, and I've just been like, you know what, I'm not gonna try this and looking for games. I'm just gonna be disappointed because I'm gonna open up a hand of nothing.
It's like an open challenge. Like try to
Mhm.
optimize Flunderies as best you can, and then lose to MST plus Imperm.
Exactly. Because the games where you will open the combo is the games where your opponent will open exactly what they need to destroy the combo. All right, so next we got Bismugear to Unlimited. This is what we were
I hate
talking about
Pendulum.
before, where Big Pendulum is running the server. They will take away a card from Pendulum, and they'll be like, "Oh, my baby Pendulum," because Pendulum be wah 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 crying because they lost a card. It's like, "Oh, baby
hate it.
Pendulum,
Hate
here's your toy back, baby Pendulum. Here's one card back," and then Pendulum becomes amazing again, and then they have to get rid of a card, and then they add back a
Then
card.
they just go double nerf last ban list though.
Yes, but then
And
like this,
I'm
this has
telling you
happened
now,
every
next ban
single
list, they'll
ban
get
list.
another card back.
Every single ban list. Anytime that we have to slap Pendulum on the wrist, we always get. We have one YTC, and then the next one we'll literally be, okay, we're very sorry. Here's a toy back, and then they'll just run rampant. It always happens. This happened back in like at the very beginning. It all started in the set that we got the Blazing Vortex. Was it? That's when we got the new Metal Foes. We for some reason gave him combo back with those Metal Foe cards, and it was insane. And then eventually we took away combo. And then we gave them back, and then limited Bismugear, and then we just went on that for like a couple months, and now we're here to where we're like, okay, we limited Electromite and Beyond the Pendulum, and we banned combo, and now we're like, okay, here, have your single best Metal Foe name, and I'm calling it next list. We're probably gonna like move down Beyond the Pendulum or something, just because we're like, oh well, they can't pop Metal Foe's combo, they're fine.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Pendulum can't FDK turn 1, so we got to bring back as many things as possible just so that they can just barely FDK turn 1, and not
no
do
other
it.
deck, no other deck gets that kind of treatment. Like Dragon Maids or like Witchcrafters or like Dogmatica. No other deck can go on a rampage, win top multiple YTCs back to back under one player, get a card nerf, and then get back their toys. No other deck can really do that.
Mm-hmm. This is all just.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I will
All
say that
big
it
pendulum.
makes sense with how the deck works. I mean, it is a pendulum deck, and it keeps rocking back and forth between two extremes.
Yeah, literally Pendulum's either the most unplayable, like, in my opinion, Pendulum is only as good as the format is. If the meta's like quote-unquote fair, then Pendulum's going to be very dominant, because Pendulum relies on decks doing fair stuff, so then it can just out-snowball them in terms of advantage. Well, whenever decks are like really high-powered, like Dogmatica format, Waifu War format, Eldritch format, whenever decks are like out-snowballing Pendulum, they're probably doing something unfair.
Yeah, Pendulum is.
But enough about Big Pendulum.
Yeah, enough about Big Pendulum. But we only have one last unhit here on the ban list, which is Rika Princess. I know Plant was really good. I don't know what Plant lost. I think they lost the small Rika, right? Like the level 1.
No, Rika just
Negative.
lost. Rika lost the synchro, but like that was banned a while back. Really, all Rika really lost was like
And that was an
the new
aroma
field
card.
spell. Oh yeah, Rika didn't lose anything besides an E-ban on the field spell. I think the idea behind Princess was like, oh well, Plant should have a new extender, and it also should be a form of negation. But, I mean, in terms of like not having the field spell, negation is kind of fair because you have to have a Rika and tribute a plant monster.
What field spell is this?
But
Oh,
something to keep in
Con.
mind
There
with
you go.
Princess
Alright.
is that due to the fact that, if I remember correctly, it shuffles itself back. That means if you have access to pedal, unless you banish the pedal, you will always be able to search and have that again for next turn.
Yeah,
Very true, very true.
you will
and
see.
and like
Plant being
it's not
good
like
again.
plants are bad at all.
Mm-hmm. There's always
It's
just
food for
Plant's just
thought.
always good. I don't think I remember Plant being bad. Like
Well,
since
plants
I've
just been
started
like
playing this format,
underpowered.
they're
No.
consistently like
Plants-
decent.
Plants were bad when back before Rika.
Well, okay, yeah. Before Rika, the plants
yeah.
were probably doggy, but then they got Rika, and then the deck's been decent ever
And
since.
Rika revitalized the whole deck.
Yeah.
But
And
like
the rest
right
is
now,
history.
plants are probably like fair right now because like we're in a very like low power format, and plants don't have the like their best boss monster, that being the level 6. So right now it's mainly like just out tempo your opponent and build up into teardrop. But I can see Princess being a bit out of hand because if you're able to just establish like the aroma monster to have battle protection and constantly have a way to get Princess and rotation, I can see it being a bit annoying. But then of course we'll probably get into the fact like, oh well, then just play some graveyard disruption or just
draw the out.
draw the out. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
All right,
always,
well,
that's always the
Activate
thing.
DD drop.
That is gonna be it for the ban list at the very least. But I don't think that would be good to leave it off. I feel like we should leave this off by saying what decks we are thinking are going to be good coming into this format after after the Magnificent Maven ban list and coming into this next YTC, what decks do you guys think are going to be good?
Despia Dadal.
Mm-hmm.
I think dinosaurs are going to be really good. Doodle Beast Tyranno is literally just basically Diet Trident.
It's not even Diet Trident. It's actually, yeah, it's kind of Diet Trident. Yeah, you're right. Because
it's only during the main phase whenever it's normal summoned.
But how much attack does it have on it? 2,800?
It has 2,400 attack, and then it gains attack whatever the monster destroyed. Because it can only pop. Wait, can it destroy cards? It can only destroy cards. It can only summon itself during. That is true. It doesn't target, but it can only destroy monsters. It has to be normal summon for the pop effect, and it can only summon itself on the opponent's turn during the main phase.
Yeah.
So it's like very restrictive.
But on the other hand, it does turn Overraptor into one card disruption.
Yes, that is true.
That is true.
And it's from the hand, so you can't really like get rid of it unless you like play like debunk, but debunk's already bad. And if you can be like, oh, and it's non-reactive too, so you can like, so let's say like your opponent's like, okay, I'm gonna set 5 back row, and I'm gonna pass. Oh wait, end of main phase, make Tyranno, summon Tyranno, and then bring back Overraptor with a reborn effect.
I think it's just funny that the dual
Stefan,
beasts are like good. What a stupid.
They're good mainly because like the trap is just a really good search card because it just searches. It's basically another copy of Fossil Dig. Okay. Well, we reached the end of the podcast. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and if you made it this far, comment in the YouTube your favorite Trinity Format season.
Yeah,
and
make
you
sure
can't
to
say
comment.
List Format.
Make sure to make a call-out post on Twitter. Let's get hashtag Big Pendulum trending, and get a response from Stephen J. Trevadowski himself, because we know
and let's
that
make him prove that he's not Polo in disguise.
Let's make it prove it, and we will get to the bottom of this. We will uncover the Illuminati of Trinity. All right.
Oh,
well,
this is MP signing off.
This is your boy Floppish, the GOAT, Riz God, Infinite Swag. Yeah.
Please tell me you recorded that. Please tell me you recorded that.
Yeah, I recorded that.